Donald Trump imposed a 25% tariff on UK steel and a 10% tariff on aluminium imports. And it's yet another blow to Britain's post-Brexit ambitions. I don't want to keep bringing up Brexit, but as time goes on, it's becoming harder to ignore just how much of a mistake it looks like. Yeah, remember when Barack Obama won the UK back in 2016, that if it left the EU, it would be at the back of the queue for trade deals. Well, that statement is aging like fine wine, because Trump's action showed that even he, the supposed Brexit-friendly president, has little interest in cutting Britain any slack. One of the biggest selling points of Brexit was the promise of a big, beautiful trade deal with the United States. Many believe that a Trump presidency will make that easier than a Biden administration ever would. And then there is the so-called special relationship between the UK and the US, something British leaders love to talk about. But here is the reality. Donald Trump doesn't do special relationships with struggling economies. He's a billionaire who has never experienced poverty. And people like him see struggling nations the way they see struggling individuals, as an inconvenient nuisance. To Trump, everything is transactional. If a country isn't wealthy or strategically powerful, it's just a distraction. That's why his closest relationships are with economic powerhouses like Saudi Arabia, not with countries trying to navigate the aftermath of a self-inflicted wound like Brexit. The UK wanted sovereignty. That's one of the promises of Brexit. But let's compare how it and the EU responded to Trump's tariffs. The EU retaliated by reducing steel import quotas by 15% to prevent cheap steel originally meant for the US from flooding its market. It also announced tariffs on up to 26 billion worth of US goods, including bourbon whiskey, jeans, and Harley-Davidson motorcycles. While these measures were initially set to take effect in April, the EU has postponed them slightly to allow for further negotiations. The UK, on the other hand, has done absolutely nothing, seemingly waiting for Trump to reconsider, as if it were the 51st state he has always wanted. This passive approach raises serious concern, especially when looking at economic realities. For context, just listen, for context, California's economy alone is comparable to that of the UK. In 2023, California's GDP, PPP, that is purchasing power parity, was around $3.9 trillion, while the UK's was approximately $3.8 trillion. That means a single US state rivals the entire British economy. The EU's economy is far larger than that of the UK's. In 2023, the EU's GDP PPP was approximately 26.4 trillion, compared to the US economy at around 30.5 trillion. While the US still holds a slight edge, the EU as a collective bloc has far more leverage in trade negotiations than the UK alone. So while the EU is negotiating as a sovereign economic powerhouse, the UK is waiting for Donald Trump's goodwill, a dangerous strategy when dealing with someone who sees everything as transactional. In Trump's word, if you are not a priority, you are just another pawn.